Goodness, Brian, you've been very industrious today. What have you been working on here?
Well, this morning we put together, or I put together, I should say, rather, these target stands.
I'm putting together Mrs. W's office, and you're putting together the target stand. So
Which of us has the better job?
we ordered these a set of 6 targets from shootsteel.com. They didn't look this big on the website.
No, they sure didn't.
Because Mrs. W has been so excited about getting into shooting that we're going to set up a range. So we're going to have targets. They're AR 500, and they start at, is it the little guys here, 6-inch?
There's a smaller one than that actually, right here.
The little spinner. I'll bring you in here close. But at the 100-yard mark, so every 100 yards is what you labeled out with the GPS down there, and we figured we could go to 620 yards.
620 from the porch all the way to the property line.
So the targets we ordered start small. Is it 4 or 6-inch? That little guy.
This guy?
4, probably 5-inch.
Probably 5 or 6.
5 or 6-inch.
I don't know.
And then they go up at the 620 yard to 22-inch.
Yeah, that one's big.
Like that, and so they're really nice. They're on they're on conduits, and they spin here. So if you do shoot the stand, you simply can go to big box store and replace it with a conduit. But I'm going to bring you closer and kind of show some of the features. These are really cool. So this is this is the second to the smallest one.
Right, the smallest one is right there. That's, I don't know, maybe a 6-inch, and this one's probably about an 8-inch, I think.
Yeah.
You know, that's about 8 inches.
And so how do those work? I didn't see you put them together on the corners.
These were the first ones that I put together, and they're really quite straightforward. So there are 2 sides, which are these black angled pieces, and I'll just pull this apart to show you. There's a retaining pin, and then there's a hole here in the side, and then there's just this flat bar stock here, and there's a hole through both. So if you need to replace it, you just put a hole here in your conduit that will line up.
Oh, that's clever, with the little keeper pins.
And with little keeper pins to keep it all together. And that is the foundation of this entire thing. There's another one that goes into here, and then there are these 2 other pieces that are slightly larger, and they
keeps it centered.
Right, keep it from sliding too far.
Oh, clever. So these are thick enough. We should be able to shoot these with up 308, no problem. And they're at an angle, so they won't ricochet.
Right.
That is cool. And then, so the tall ones are the same principle here, but they're just more spaced out.
Yep.
So it's just a locking collar?
There's a locking collar here, and they include the little Allen wrench that goes with that. So depending on the size of your gong, you can slide these closer or further away.
So you could put multiples on there then too.
Yeah, you probably could actually put 2 or 3 smaller ones on one conduit.
That is really nice, really nice. So we have 4 of the big stands and then 2 of the little guys.
Right.
For the close-up. So you got the gongs impact too?
I do. They're in here.
So these are the plates. So they're all the same thickness?
I think so. Let's see.
So that will be that's the 300 yarder right there?
This one's, what is this, 3/8 of an inch?
You know, that's not the metric system on that tape measure,
It's
Brian.
not, and that means I don't know how to read it.
I know. You flip it upside down, is there a metric system on the bottom?
No. Oh. No, this is also feet and inches.
Good, thank goodness for that. All right, so that's the 300 yard and the 400 yard, and then you've got the 500 yard over here.
And the 500 yard, this one's 16 inches.
16, and then there's the gigantic one.
Yeah, this guy right here. Oh.
Wow.
And that's 22.
What's that thing weigh?
60 pounds on the package. This one's thicker. This one's a full 1/2 inch. That is a big piece of steel.
So how do those mount to that conduit?
Okay. Now, I don't know if these instructions are usually included, but
Oh, these are the rubber.
Yeah.
Oh, you can just loop around like this.
that's an idea. I hadn't considered that actually.
Yep.
You know, I was thinking you would put one end in and then connect the other end to that.
Yeah, and the reason why they do this is that you can shoot this quite a few times before it breaks. Mm-hmm. A chain, you get one shot.
Yeah.
And it falls off, so that's why they don't use chains so much. That's nice.
Yeah, they can just loop that right through.
So it's just like a big, super thick, like conveyor belt material. So in addition to the targets, we're getting the van. It's time for the van to go. It's got, what did we figure, over 300,000 miles on it? 300 and...
I haven't looked at
I don't know, maybe 320,000. Anyway, it's a lot of miles, and it's getting to the point where it's just we can't really take it too far from the house because we don't know if it's going to make it or not. You know, it's just got so many miles on it, starting to develop problems. So we're going to clean it up, get rid of the adventure van, and then Monday, Mrs. W and I are heading a couple hours south of here to look at a newer one that we might be. So we might be doing, if we do get it, we're going to be doing a full-on conversion with the beds, a total build out with the solar panels and the inverter, and it'll be a really fun project. Brian and I probably both work on that. But we're going to put a sink and a refrigerator and the whole deal and do it up really nice for all of our adventures. So stay tuned for that. If you want to buy an adventure van, hit me up on email. So we just got the tractor back. Yanmar picked it up. You know, I broke the windshield on the back with the post hole digger. And I offered to fix it. They said, oh no, we want to do a full service on it. Plus they had to add a bunch of hydraulic circuits for some upcoming implements we'll be working on. So it just got back. It was maybe gone for 10, 14 days or so, but it's really interesting what they added. So I had them add a third hydraulic set of plugs right here. So now that we have 3 levers up there for the rear, so we can run this the 6-way blade, all the functions without unplugging and messing around. So that's really nice. And they also added a dedicated, what did they call it, Brian?
He said it was a straight through hydraulic.
A straight through, and it's got huge pipes, a connection with the large connections on there. And I'm assuming that it's a much higher flow. For attachments, anything we want to run on the back. I guess you could run a snowblower, a rear-mounted snowblower if you wanted. We're going to be putting a front-mounted snowblower on there, but that's nice. Of course, they fixed the windshield and all those things, but come to the front and I'll show you that stuff as well. So the hydraulic lines were added also on the front, and this is, I'm sorry, it's straight line, straight through,
Straight through, but maybe there's another term for it.
Huge.
High flow lines.
High flow, huge hydraulic lines. Looks like they put a bracket on here, and then these tubes are big. They look like almost 1 inch. And then it comes to the front here with these big quick couplers. These are much larger. So what's going to happen is we'll have a quick attach snowblower this winter. We're able to get it. All the stuff is kind of brand new. This might be one of the first ones. It's kind of a prototype attachment. So a lot of the stuff needed to be worked up and still engineered. So that's why we didn't have it last year. They just couldn't quite get it all done. But we should have everything ready for this coming winter, which the locals are predicting we might have a really bad winter. It was pretty bad last year. We had a lot of snow, and a lot of greenhouses and structures were collapsed up here. There was even a home down the road that was caved in. And so having the snow blower is going to be really nice to help keep the roads open. When I was plowing, helping you guys plowing with your road, it was getting to the point where when I started plowing, it was really wide, but there were places I couldn't put the snow anywhere. And when it was getting down to it, I could only plow 1 link, and I thought, if we get another 2 or 3 feet, I'm not going to be able to plow this anymore. So the snow blower will be nice. That'll be able to shoot that, throw that off of there. What else? Was there anything else they added, Brian?
Oh, other than a full service, grease and everything, oil change, I think that was it.
That's it. Okay. So we're really excited about the van. So this is one we bought. We bought it, wow, probably like 2006 or so. It's a 2004. When we bought it, it had 200,000 miles on it, but it was in really good shape. It was one owner, and it had been driven as a delivery vehicle on the highway. So it was just like new, even though it had all those miles on it. But the new one's going to be very different. They don't make this van anymore. This is the Econoline, the E350, the 15-passenger van. We're going to get a Ford, but the new ones are the Transit. So they're more like a Sprinter. And they have 3 different lengths and 3 different heights. So I think what we're going to get is the medium length, the long wheelbase, and then the medium height, which is about 6'1", 6'2" to the inside. So I can almost stand up, but not quite. But a lot better than this one, because this one here I've had to crawl around on my hands and knees. And Mrs. W had to, when she does the cooking right here, you had to be on your hands and knees. So what we did to this is kind of, this was, our first one is similar to what we're going to do, but we'll do a full queen bed in the back. And I think what we're going to do is it's going to seat 5. So we'll have the seats up front, and then I believe we're going to put a row of 3 seats, everything factory seats, all belted in and nice, and then a bulkhead, and then maybe a little galley here with we have a little refrigerator. And this is just a countertop that we got from IKEA that was a little plastic bin slide in here from the kids department, and we bolted it in here, and then that worked really good for our dishes. But this was our first time, and I guess I should show the inverter. I've shown the inverter before. I've got a whole video on this. I'm not going to get into that. Today's just kind of an update with what's going on. So the adventure van will be going away. We'll get it finished detailed today and put it on Craigslist. And then Monday, maybe, we'll have a new project to start. So speaking of projects, I'll take you in and show you what I'm doing today in the house. So while Brian's working on that stuff, I've got my own project in here, and it's working on Mrs. W's office. The poor woman, she has wanted me to finish up her office for longer than I'd like to admit, and I'm gonna finally get it done. So nothing will happen in this household till this is done. So I've got 3 or 4 days set aside and should get it all wrapped up. So this is the same floor that we put in our house, I guess, what was it, a year or so ago. It's really an interesting story. So this is old Doug fir that was milled for me, a friend of mine who's got a big sawmill up north of here, and we bought enough when we had to mill the original package enough for the entire house, all the closets and upstairs as well. And it's a really interesting story. So this was this wood came from is probably over 100 years old. It came from the Columbia River, where it was used as boom logs. So they used to transport logs in these giant rafts back in the day. And they would float them down the river and float them to the sawmills, and then they would have basically like boom logs that were all chained together that were like a fence to kind of corral everything in and keep the logs from getting out and escaping. Well, he was able to buy these all up that had been in the water for so long, and then dried them. He's got a huge kiln. This kiln is so big he can pull 2 rail cars into it, flatbed rail cars. And then he milled it for us. So it's really a kind of an interesting story and local wood from our area. And it's the old school type of wood floor, nailed down, not engineered flooring like that sits on top a lot of today. So you can see here it's very nice and very thick and kerf cut in the bottom so it won't warp. But the problem I ran into, not being a hardwood floor guy or a floor installer, is when I got to the end, I couldn't get the tongue and groove pushed in. Because there's no room to hit it with a hammer. Now I was nailing everything with a. This is kind of cool. If you haven't seen one of these, this is a. Where's the hammer at? This is a floor stapler. I think I've shared this in the past videos, but it's really cool because so you put it on the floor when you have a piece of wood that you're gonna staple in, and it's got a stop on it. I don't know if you can see me there, and it goes right there like that, and then you hit it with a mallet right here, and that it's pneumatic, and then that drives that staple at a 45-degree angle through the tongue, and so you don't have any fasteners showing. There's no nails or anything showing, and it's super secure because these staples are huge and they're long. But I can't use it here because I run into the wall, so I have to hand nail it or use the finish nailer through the corner. But the problem I ran into was I have no way of getting these pulled tight because they take so much force, and I figured it out. And it's this deal. You ever seen one of these before? The funny thing about this thing is I just ordered this online. It was pretty cheap. It was like 45 bucks or so. But there was one, I saw one of these we were at a thrift store last year, maybe 8 months ago, and I saw one of these, and it was a lot nicer than this one. It was like a USA made one. And I didn't really know what it was, but I almost bought it because it was so cool. I knew it was some sort of a jack. But I didn't buy it because I didn't really know what it was. I think it was like $5 or $8, and I kicked myself like, oh, now I realize what that thing was. It was a floor jack for doing just this type of work. So I'll show you how this works with putting the floor here in a tight area. Yeah, so check this out. So you got these tongues and grooves, and it's unlike the engineer floor. They're not made out of real wood like this is. So they slip together a lot easier. But this takes force. So this jack, you put a piece of wood across the wall so you don't break the drywall or anything. And what this simply does is it's got a little deal on it, and it jacks. Watch the tongue go in. It jacks the floor in. Very tight this. And that's partially because of the staples. There we go. Now it's going in. But this is the ticket. I just don't know. You just can't hardly do it without this. Get it nice and tight this way too. Normally the tongues don't go in near this hard, but the problem is the house is so crooked that the floor dives down and it's all uneven. And so when you staple the floor down, the new one, it follows that wood floor and it's no longer flat. So it's just a bear cat to try to get the tongues in without, even with this jack, it's not easy. China's revenge there. But that was good. That's going to work good. Now I can. Now it's nice and tight. That is an amazing tool. So I'm sorry, that's about all I have for you today. I've got so much going on trying to get Mrs. W's room done that I didn't have time to do a lot today, but there'll be more coming up this weekend. We have lots of fun projects going on. Really looking forward to the van. That will be, I think that's something you'll really enjoy. I've put a lot of thought into this, how I want to configure it. This will be my third one. And usually, third time's the charm. That's when you get it right. So the first one, I made a lot of mistakes. This one here had several things that were lacking that I didn't like. This third one here, we're gonna do it up and do it properly. So look forward to that. What else was there? I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. And Friday, time is it? Friday at 1 o'clock. Happy Sabbath to all you who keep the seventh day. And to those of you who keep the first, happy Saturday or Sunday Sabbath to you as well. Don't forget, take a day off once a week. Recharge your batteries, reconnect with your family, and put away those cell phones and the jobs and just take that time for your family and one day a week. Don't do any work and you'll be amazed on how much it improves your life. It really does. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. It has been some time since we have been able to see Mount Fuji, and it's Canada's fault. That's right. It's all Canada's fault. First the metric system, then Justin Bieber, and now this. The wildland fires in Canada are so big that the smoke is moving down into the Pacific Northwest, and it's been smoky here for probably 10 days or so. Really smoky. Sometimes in the morning it's so thick that we're unable to even see the trees there to the north. It's actually a really clear day today, but visibility has been down to inside about 500 yards. So I hope they're doing well up there. If they need help, if you guys need help, let us know. We're happy to come out and help you put out your fires. What else is there? So now would be a good time to click thumbs up. And also, if you want to order some really great targets, shootsteel.com. I did a bunch of research and looked around before I ordered them, and they were very helpful to help me set up the range, pick the right targets, and everything is really, really nicely built. So I'm very, very happy with that. We're looking forward to that. So as you see in front of you here, that's basically where the range is going to be. Brian and I went out and GPS mapped everything, and at the very, very end, you see right in the middle that solitary little tree. That is about almost 500 yards there, and then right at the tree line we can put one more target at 620. So that's a nice range, really a good length and plenty of room to get lots of good practice. Behind those trees is a nice berm too, so we're shooting from a elevated position. It'll be a very safe place to shoot as well. So looking forward to that. So if you would like to see, want me to take the camera when Brian and I go up and set up the range, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to thumbs up. It shows support for the channel and helps us out, and I really appreciate it. So take a minute and do that. All right, is that it? I guess so. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.